Hello students, welcome again to biology lesson. This is our second class, unit 5 about animals. 5.1, keeping farm animals. Students, last time we have covered about plants, unit 4. We have discussed about photosynthesis and the chemical equation of photosynthesis in general, and the glucose formation in plants through photosynthesis. Today we are going to see about animals. Maybe before that I'm going to revise what points have you discussed in grade 7 under the same unit, unit 5 about animals. In your biology grade 7, you have discussed in detail about animals, especially classification of animals, types of animals according to their backbone, and also classification of animals and the distribution of animals as well. Here it is, we are going to focus only with specific animals, farm animals in this unit. Okay, students, have you ever seen farm animals? Have you ever visited countryside? Maybe students in countryside are very familiar with farm animals. Maybe you are living in Addis Ababa. How much you are familiar with farm animals? I hope some of you are visited so far countryside and observed some farm animals and for what purposes the farmers in countryside use them. In order to define or explain about farm animals, they are animals domesticated and reared by farmers as a part of agricultural system are called farm animals. Students, do you know for what purpose do you think farmers in Ethiopia keep farm animals? Farmers in Ethiopia keep farm animals for the following different purposes. Actually, our living standards in Ethiopia is based on the agricultural system. That means our economy, our food, and most of our living standard is covered by agricultural system. And hence, farm animals are very important for farmers in Ethiopia. In order to mention some of the use, farm animals uses for different purposes. Among the purposes, they are used for crop farming. They are used for crop farming. For crop farming, under this point, we are going to look some of the crop farming commonly known in our countryside. For plowing, example, for plowing, for transporting yield, for transporting yields, and for threshing crops. This is some points or use of farm animals in countryside. For this purpose, farmers use. Can you tell me animals that used for plowing purpose? Yeah, commonly in Ethiopia, farmers used oxes or an ox for plowing purpose and the threshing purpose, for transporting purpose also horses, donkeys, and the camels, and also mules. For threshing crops also they use different types of animals. Maybe the second point of use of animal is for direct source of food. Animals are used for direct source of food. direct source of food. Our food comes actually from plants and animals directly. So we rely, our life is relying on plants and animals. The direct food that we can get from animals include meat, milk, and egg. This is the direct food we obtained from animals. The third point is maybe for used as a means of income, used for income. For income. This is directly by selling animals. Directly by selling animals. We can get, or farmers in Ethiopia get money, direct cash from animals by selling live animals, farm animals, that means animals, they can get money. Especially this is a time at which animals come to the market for the selling, because this is the time as it is ceremony is coming, people are bring animals to different markets for direct selling and obtain the money. The other is for drug power. They use for drug power, used as a drug power. Drug power, that means for transporting system. For this, we can mention cart. Example, cart. Cart, it is transporting system. The power is the horse, the dragging power, or horse is used for this purpose. People use horse for this purpose. Students, there are also a lot of use of farm animals along their products. Please go and refer to biology textbook, page 102 and 103, about farm animals and their products respectively. The second point is feeding farm animals. Feeding farm animals. Feeding farm animals. Actually, animals are classified into three based on their food type or feeding mechanisms. Food type and the feeding mechanisms. This food type or feeding mechanisms actually not only belong to to farm animals, but also this is the general feeding animals. The first animal is herbivorous. Herbivorous. The second animal in terms of feeding is carnivorous. The third animal in terms of feeding mechanism and the food type is omnivorous. Omnivorous. So animals could be classified into three based on their food type and the feeding mechanisms. So let me see one by one. Herbivorous as the name implies that, herbi means it is plant or grass. So such animals eat plant. So they are animals, those eat plants. They eat plants. That means plant eaters. You can say plant eater. The second animal, carnivorous. They eat flesh or flesh eater, we can say. They are flesh eater. They are animals which eat flesh, or they are flesh eater. Flesh eater, that means meat in other name. The third group is Omnivorous. They eat both plant and the flesh. They eat both plant and the flesh. Both plant and the flesh. Of course, we can mention example for each animals. Herbivorous, there are many animals are herbivorous. They eat plants. Example, we can say cow, ox, sheep, and so on, flesh eaters. Some animals are flesh eaters, dog, cats, lion, and so on. The third group of animals include, for example, man, rats, pig, etc. So we can call a lot of animals according to their feeding mechanism. The next point is ruminant animals. Ruminant animals. Ruminant animals. They are animals basically feed on plant matter and partially digest the plant matter in the first stomach rumen, and then they chew again. Such animals chew their food again. First they eat the plant matter or plant-based food by softening it in their first stomach or rumen, and then they bring back to the mouth and re-chew again. Such animals are said to be ruminants. Such animals are said to be ruminants. So these are animals those rechewing their cuds. Their cuds again, rechewing their cuds again. So we are going to classify ruminant animals as farm animals as ruminant and non-ruminant animals. Herbivorous. Herbivorous animals could be classified into two, ruminant and non-ruminants. Some of the herbivorous animals are ruminants. Some of the herbivorous animals are non-ruminants. So ruminants are example of ruminant animals among the herbivorous. We can give example, cattle, sheep, goats, and the buffalo also, which is wild animal. So these are generally, we can call them equine bovine species. These non-ruminants are horse, example, horse, donkey, camel, and a mule. So herbivorous animals could be classified in this way. This group of animals can reach the cud again. These animals do not. With equine species in general, we can say they are not ruminant animals. So what can we conclude from this explanation? We can conclude that not all herbivores are not ruminants. All herbivorous animals are not ruminants. Even though the non-ruminant animals eat herbivorous, they are not ruminants. Students, do you think carnivorous animals are ruminants? What do you think? I will come back after a minute. I hope you discussed about the question. From the definition, ruminant animals are herbivorous. They eat grass parts or grass foods only. So carnivorous animals are not ruminant animals. They are not ruminant animals. Only herbivorous animals are ruminants. Okay, let's come to also the four specialized stomach or chambers of ruminant animals. Ruminant animals have four specialized stomachs or chambers. The first chamber is called rumen. Rumen is first chamber or stomach. The second is reticulum. Second chamber of the ruminant. The third is omasum. The third stomach is omasum. Third chamber. The fourth is omasum. for the chamber. So ruminant animals have the following 4 specialized chambers. So these 4 specialized chambers, as the name implies, they are specialized. That means each and every stomach has its own particular function during the digestion process. So let's come to see one by one what is the particular function of the 4 specialized chambers during the process of digestion. Actually, you can find this the specialized food chamber on your textbook, page 105, in the form of concept map. Now let me give you a hint how the food is processed in every chamber. Okay, students, this is our first class of Unit 5. Let me revise what we have discussed so far about farm animals. Let me remind you, farm animals are animals those domesticated and reared by farmers as a part of agricultural systems. For different purposes, farmers in Ethiopia reared or domesticate animals. So the first use of animals is just animals are used as a direct source of food. For this purpose, farmers are domesticated and reared animals. And also animals are also used for crop plowing, for transporting yields and threshing crops. Also farmers used for this purpose. The other is also animals are used as a means of drag power. Example for this, horse. They can use horse for the drag power. And also feeding mechanisms in animals. According to their feeding mechanism in the food types, we could classify animals into 3 groups. The first group of animals are called herbivorous, which eats plant materials. The second group of animals are carnivorous, which depend on flesh, or they eat flesh. The third group of animals are omnivorous. So such animals eat both grass materials or plant materials and flesh. Students, please, if you have any questions, suggestion, and idea, please just you are welcome. Contact us through SMS 8455. See you.